You know what they say? They say the Arizona Cardinals, you can't get a lot of views and you can't get a lot of people to click because it's a small fan base. Well, you know what I say? Phooey on that. Let's prove them wrong, all right? If you are a Cardinals fan, we want to be one of your go-to spots. If you're new to this channel, we love the NFL. We post videos about a ton of teams. This is the first Cardinals video that we're doing. We've been doing this channel for about a year, but just recently opened it up to more teams. Cardinals, love covering you. Love what you have going on. So I'm going to start by asking you a controversial question, and then I'm going to tell you about a guy that is absolutely blowing people away at practice. And the first question that I have for you, you know what? No, I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait, and I'm going to tell you about who is just going nuts at practice. It is none other than your tight end, Trey McBride. And they're talking about how he is poised to take a final step in his transformation into a superstar. He's going into his third year, and man, did he have a good year last year. That's what I'll tell you right now. He had a phenomenal year last year. All right? It's another offensive weapon. It's not Marvin Harrison Jr. All right. He put up historical numbers last year for the Cardinals, 81 catches, 825 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Here's what's more impressive for me. All right. And here's another thing that's crazy. First 100-yard receiving game for a tight end since 89. Are you kidding me? All right. Not a lot of tight end action going on there in Arizona. All right. But here's what he did in 8 games with Kyler Murray. So he gets his starting quarterback back. And in the final 8 games, he goes for 53 catches, 538 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So what's the next step? We're already seeing it. He already took the next step. If you extrapolate that out, that ends up being something like 110 catches for over 1,100 yards over a 17-game season. Now, do I think he'll do that? No, because you have Marvin Harrison Jr. there. Wilson's only getting better. There are other weapons that are there, but Kyler Murray is different than what he was playing with last year, and the last 8 games showed it. When he was the only weapon, honestly, like big-time weapon, they utilized him and utilized him well. So that leads me to my question, because McBride talked about Kyler Murray recently, and that's the question I have for you Cardinals fans. How do you feel about Kyler Murray as your quarterback? Let me ask you that again in full screen. How do you feel about Kyler Murray as your quarterback? Here's what I think. I've watched him play quite a bit, and I understand that there can be frustration. I understand that it's almost aloof at time, or it feels like he doesn't care that much at times, and he can do things that are maddening. He can show shocking accuracy and then be shockingly inaccurate. He can show great reads and then have horrible reads. He can run at the perfect time and then run at the wrong time. But you can't argue with the fact that the former number 1 overall pick has a good right arm. He has amazing feet and quickness and talent in the running game. And if he can put it together, could be something special. I think this new coaching regime that you have is built to have him be successful. All right? And I'm going to go ahead and say this. I got rid of, and I know this isn't real football, it's fantasy football. He's my quarterback. All right, I play in 2 different leagues. Both are super flex. If you're a fantasy football player, you know what that means. 2 quarterback leagues, and I drafted him in one, and I traded for him in another. And I wanted to make sure I had Murray on my team going into next year. I traded away Trevor Lawrence in one. All right, and I traded away Anthony Richardson in the other because I thought Kyler Murray absolutely could be the guy, and I think he can be for this team as well. I really do. And if you don't believe me, talk to the guy who's breaking out and is about to be a superstar tight end in this league, and another guy who I have in fantasy football, Trey McBride. And here's what he had to say. He said, this is my 3rd year with him now. This is Trey McBride talking about Kyler Murray. And let me try and zoom in here for you guys so you can see it a little bit better. He said, this is my 3rd year with him now, and he seems more motivated than ever. It gets better. Pause. This is a guy who they had to write into his contract that he'd watch a certain amount of film. Now, you knew that relationship was doomed for disaster when a team puts in a contract that you need to watch film. That's not good. All right. That doesn't necessarily just mean that Kyler Murray is the problem. That means that there's a problem between the front office, the coaching staff, and the quarterback. That is an issue. All right. That's this. You want this. And now with this new regime in, it seems like Kyler Murray was better last year, and he will only continue to be better. All right. McBride went on to say he's a guy who's bringing everyone together. We are throwing every weekend. When have you heard this before, Cardinals fans? I don't think you have. He's in the building, first one in and last one out. When have you heard this before? He's one of those guys who's doing everything the right way. All right? He did play better last year. I thought he was more under control. And now when you're going to get him this year, fully healthy, fully integrated into the system, I think you're going to see something even better. All right, McBride went on to talk glowingly about him. He said this is the most confident I've seen him. So it's the hardest he's worked. And by the way, can I just say it's not a surprise that as he's working harder, the confidence is going up? All right, he's more comfortable in what he's doing. He's not guessing. He's one of these guys that was a phenomenal athlete, both as a baseball player and a football player. So he's been able to get away with just being the most athletic person on the field. All right? And he has a wonderfully talented right arm. But this is the NFL. In the Big 12, he could run around. He was the most athletic guy there at Oklahoma. We know that. All right? In the NFL, it doesn't work. It can give you some success, but it can't give you all the success. McBride said, this is the first year I've been fully healthy with him. He's fully healthy. I think everything is trending the right way. He has a ton of weapons out there, including you, McBride. All right? And I have full confidence that he's capable of a what? MVP season. All right? Dark horse. All right, dark horse for the MVP. I don't know if I necessarily see MVP coming out, but you never know. You honestly never know. And I think that while I don't see him as being an MVP, I absolutely see him as being a quarterback. And I'll argue this with anybody that can be good enough to make a team very, very successful. I don't think he's big enough to be like what Lamar is for the Ravens. I don't think he's a guy who can rush for 1,000 yards and throw for 4,000. I think he's a guy that can throw for 4,500 and run for 500. I absolutely think he's that guy. All right. And I'm just really excited to see what he can do. So many different weapons. There's so many weapons, said McBride. All right. He said, we have so many guys on this team, so many different guys that can make plays. I'm just eager to get out on the field and see how the coaches utilize us all. All right. And as we look at this team, when you look on the outside and you now have Marvin Harrison Jr. and you have Wilson, all right, you have Michael Wilson out of Stanford in his second year after a good rookie season, at least promising, right? At least a promising rookie season. You still have Connor in the backfield. You have McBride at tight end, and you have a good enough, not great, but a good enough, hopefully, offensive line that when they're working together, this can be an offense that absolutely plays well. I'm excited to see what happens with this team. All right, hopefully you liked it. Now that you're at the end of the video, hit that like button, leave a comment, let me know what you think. McBride, you have to be excited for. You've got to be excited for McBride. I don't know where you're at with Murray. I don't know, but I know where I'm at. So anyways, thanks for watching. Hope to see you on the next one and hope that there's some views here so we can see some more Cardinals videos. Talk to you later.